Today's show, we promise, will leave you shell-shocked.
Welcome to Reviews on the Run. Today on Reviews on the Run, we gear up and load out as we answer the call of duty.
Get out now!
So grab your rifle, head to the front line, and prepare for World War III.
Missiles coming in!
Vic and I love the smell of Call of Duty games in the morning.
We do, and Activision has made it an annual tradition now. There are so many Call of Duty games to look back on and enjoy.
What is the difference between Modern Warfare and Call of Duty? Explain.
Well, Call of Duty is more about the battles that took place in the past, and Modern Warfare wants to kind of look forward a little bit.
Let's start with the original Modern Warfare. Here's Stephen Rajiv.
You know, I find it quite amusing that for all the hundreds of games that we talk about on this show, whenever you talk to a teenager and say, hey, so what are you playing? Call of Duty.
Of course it is. So today we're going to look at the game that kicked off this obsession, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, the first title to bear the Modern Warfare name. This was the Michael Bayification of the first-person shooter. It's like a thrill ride. It's a fairly linear experience. You're really led by the nose through all the environments of the game, but man, there are some moments in this game that will still stick with you. There's that really memorable early mission in the game where you're stealthily infiltrating the ship, and then everything goes to hell, and the ship is sinking, and you're running through the sinking ship trying to get to your helicopter to get off.
Jump for it!
This was the first one where they actually told the story as opposed to just shifting viewpoints, you know, in World War II. It's an interesting narrative leap here, and I think actually it really helped this game when it came out and sort of helped build the model for the rest of them that have come since.
The stories in these games are still a little bit disjointed because they do jump all over the world and you do transfer between characters.
But really, it is all about the multiplayer. I put a ton of time into this when it came out.
This is the game that really established that formula that seemed to really hook people in. I mean, you got your kill streaks, you got your perks, you got different ways to customize your character, and different rewards for playing well, and that hooks into gamers' brains. It's like some kind of addictive chemical that it drip feeds you, and that addictive nature led to this being the most popular online multiplayer series. I mean, people are still playing Modern Warfare 2, people are desperately excited for Modern Warfare 3, a ton of people are still playing Black Ops every single day. It's set this new standard that the other games have, I think, more or less successfully lived up to.
Of course, it did also spawn 1,000 foul-mouthed teenagers, you know, yelling at you online.
I don't want to make any sweeping generalizations of online gamers, but I'm gonna anyway. I'm not a big fan of playing any of the Call of Duty games online with strangers. In fact, I won't do it. It's partly because I don't have the skills to match younger generation. I love playing these games with a good group of people. I love playing these games with my friends. I would never go online and just jump into a random Call of Duty match.
But this is a classic. We cannot hate something for the fans that it has.
No.
It still looks really good.
It does look great. Again, there's these missions that will stick with me. There's that one mission, the ghillie suit mission. I mean, that's one of the all-time great first-person shooter missions where you're crouched down in a field and there are enemies walking right by you and you're not even moving. You're not touching your controller, but you're crapping your pants because, like, don't look at me, don't step on me, don't touch me.
Easy, lad. There's too many of them. Let them go.
There's that one mission where you're in the helicopter and the nuke hits.
Yeah.
Your helicopter crashes and you spend the rest of the mission dying. I thought I was doing it wrong. I thought, well, I didn't make it to the right checkpoint. No, you are dying in that level. That's all that happens. And it really drives home. More than being shot 100 times, a sense of mortality, I guess.
Wow, Steve, man, getting deep.
Yeah, what can I say?
Anyways, let's score this up.
Still a great game, 8.5.
Still a great game? 8.5.
That's what I said.
Hi, I'm Michael Condrey from Sledgehammer Games. I'm co-founder and head of studio development. Today I'm recommending to you The Walking Dead on AMC.
Oh, Christ.
Fantastic series. They're going into season 2. First season was a phenomenal depiction of modern day zombies taking over.
Why are you here? What do you want?
A chance.
That's asking an awful lot these days.
And as a fan of horror survival and high production values, I have to tell you, AMC has a real hit on their hands.
Save your ammo. We've got to take a quick break, but Reviews will be right back. Still to come on Reviews on the Run, witness the resurrection. Zombies take over the iPad. Finish the fight. And battle around the world. But coming up next, head back to Vietnam.
Welcome back to the show. Of all of the much anticipated titles from 2010, you might want to call this one the most anticipated.
Yeah, obviously. This is a game that really kind of borrows from every Call of Duty in the franchise in a way, doesn't
Well,
it?
it borrows from history, it borrows
Yeah.
from war movies. I mean, within the first 2 minutes of the game, you have shot Castro in the head.
Yeah.
Or have you?
Yeah.
They tried out everybody who's ever been part of history. Any conflict through history
Yeah.
is in this game. Basically, it's history on steroids.
Yeah.
That's what this game is.
It's Bruckheimer's look
Right.
at all of these
Which
different
actually I wouldn't mind
huge
seeing.
conflict.
I
I know
would
it's
see that movie.
And I actually dug how fast-paced it was. It's really hard for anyone to, I think, recount the story that's being sort of
I don't
presented
know where we
to
are.
me.
So it's
But
1963, then it's 1968, and now I'm here.
But I like that. I like that. My head
Well,
was
it
spinning
has this-
just like Mason's head is spinning in the narrative.
It
you
has
know?
this ADD quality as if
Yeah.
you're flipping through channels and you're channel surfing and you're just landing in different
Yeah.
eras.
Our very way of life is at risk.
The battles seem short too. Like the
The
game
levels are
overall,
short.
Yeah, the game seems short, and that's one thing that we've noticed with Call of Duty as it progresses. The single player has gotten smaller and smaller, so that's short. But also the moments of jumping into those battles seem shorter as well.
I wonder if this represents a kind of saturation point for the series.
Maybe.
And I wonder if it's just become too much. I hate to say this, but I found myself yawning through some of these levels.
I feel pretty strongly positive about this title. I think it's a fantastic game. I think it's not quite as fun for me as Halo Reach was, but I think there's probably a little more variety, maybe not in terms of space combat and all the stuff that you got in Halo Reach, but the combat, there's a little more variety. And certainly when you get into the multiplayer and you get all those cool unlocks and the new currency system where you have a lot more creative choice on what you're unlocking and when you're unlocking it.
This isn't for me, it's for you, and
I
it's
really
for you.
dig it. What are you going to give Black Ops?
7.5 for me, you.
I'm going to give it a 9.
There you go.
Not to fan the flames of the battle going on between Modern Warfare players and Battlefield 3 players, but Black Ops currently has more people playing it online than Battlefield 3.
Well, let's take a minute and look back at the multiplayer for Modern Warfare 2. Here's Ben and Jose.
Ben and I have decided to reboot a classic, go with a little Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Going back a couple years.
Checking out the multiplayer in this game. Now, everybody plays Call of Duty for the multiplayer.
Pretty much.
The multiplayer experience in Call of Duty games has just been phenomenal for the past 500-600 years. Everybody's been loving it. Now I get to jump back in, because I jumped back in, I was like, wow, I was level 49 in this game? Awesome. But you jump back in 2 years after the game comes out, and people are better.
Well, yeah, you find out really quickly that
week launch.
after really just a couple weeks of a Call of Duty game coming out, you are no longer very good, and you are now pretty bad, and you're going to get your butt kicked. 2 years after a Call of Duty game comes out, you just stand pretty much no chance at doing very well in the multiplayer. That being said, I still had a lot of fun, even though I was getting killed quite a bit. Eventually, I started to get my legs under me. I started to remember some of the maps. I started to remember a little bit of how to use some of these weapons. You know, it still gets a little cheap from time to time when somebody all of a sudden calls in a Harrier and starts destroying the map, or a chopper comes in and just starts, obliterating everyone.
Why do these bombs keep dropping on my face? I don't know what it is. I don't think my teammates are dying. I think it's just me.
Modern Warfare 2 was really, it's incredibly smooth.
It was
multiplayer
slick,
experience.
it was smooth, it was fast, it was fluent, it was just everything you want out of a first-person shooter that you're going to be playing online.
This game is, I think, really where Call of Duty went from being a really cool competitive multiplayer game to a sport. You have to think of it not as a video game, but like you're playing a game of basketball or football, where these are trained players. The players who are playing
They played
now,
on the circuit.
These
is
are
what you're saying.
athletes. Yeah, it feels like
This
you're
game
playing
is played
against,
on the circuit.
You're feeling like you're playing against professional athletes, and then you find out you were killed by like an 8-year-old kid.
Yeah.
It is hard going back to this game as a multiplayer affair, but there were 2 map packs released since this game initially came out. I only had one. I had the Resurgence map pack. And those maps are great. There's a ton of variety in this game.
Well, that's they do good to making sure that stuff keeps fresh, and there's constantly updating with new maps and stuff for the people who are still playing it 2 years after the fact.
Well, and there's a lot. I mean, I logged onto the servers and there were 250,000 people still playing Modern Warfare 2. I mean, Black Ops has probably got 1 million people still playing it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an amazing accomplishment that people are sticking with this game. We are definitely expecting big things out of Modern Warfare 3, but before we get to that, we have to give a score to the multiplayer of Modern Warfare 2. My friend, what are you going to give it?
Tough to find a finer multiplayer experience. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. 9 out of 10, it still holds up, it's still fun, and you're still going to get your ass kicked.
We're going to breach and clear to commercial. It sounds kind of dirty, actually.
Most things you say sound dirty.
Okay. Still to come on reviews, zombies are on the way, and the world is in ruins. But coming up next, Resurrect Vietnam. You know what will never fly in video games, Scott?
What, Victor?
Zombies. Killing zombies would never be fun.
No, anybody who puts a zombie in a video game, that sounds boring to me.
Well, Activision has taken a shot at it with the Resurrection
good
Pack
luck, guys.
for Call of Duty Black Ops, and there are 5 zombie maps. 4 of them we've seen before from Call of Duty World at War.
World at War, that's right.
The original 4 that introduced us to this mode, and then they have a new one that they've introduced, which is what we should really be talking about, which is the moon level.
This is a one-way ticket on the pain train.
I was happy to see my zombie friends again, and I've always loved the zombie mode, and I feel like this is really where Treyarch leaves kind of the James Bond, die-hard action movie feeling of the Infinity Ward games behind, and this is where their personality really shines, and I feel like this is a company that has a lot of personality, and you really feel it when you look at the zombie mode in their Call of Duty games.
Well, it's been a great distraction for Call of Duty, you know? It's been something that you have added on to make it feel totally like a new experience.
It's not another war with, you're in a warehouse and there's barrels and then there's dust blowing through.
Right.
You feel like you're kind of in some sort of weird B-movie action film.
Yeah, it's hard not to feel the weight of the other million zombie games that are out there when I play this thing. I really did have a great time, and it's so fun to be in a cooperative
Are you zombied out?
experience.
Is your zombie tank filled?
It really reminded me of playing Left 4 Dead. There's some artistic and creative risks that Treyarch and Activision have taken with this one, and I think most of that applies to the moon map, where you have this looser sense of gravity and this
I want to see
realism.
more of this.
I know.
I want to see more of this kind of creativity brought to bear on my zombie maps and just on my multiplayer maps in general, because I feel like this is the team at Treyarch Unchained. This is them turned loose to do whatever they want.
Just be as clever and creative as you want to be.
There's so many cool moments on this where you could do that sort of dive slide thing.
Yeah.
And now when you do this in the moon map, because of the zero gravity, you actually can jump in the air and go sailing over the top of zombies, and you can shoot them as you're passing above them, and you're seeing things and doing things that you've never done before.
Right.
And that's cool, and I want to see more of that. I want to feel more of that. The rest of the map pack, while it's cool, it's stuff we've seen.
Even though I'm a bit zombied out and this isn't as good as Undead Nightmare, the DLC for Red Dead Redemption, it's still fantastic. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10.
You and your Undead Nightmare, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Now, obviously, Vic and I really loved us some Resurrection.
That was excellent DLC. So much fun.
But do zombies fit into the iPad and iPhone?
Let's find out. Here's Sean and Marissa.
I've never heard of zombies in a video game before, Sean, so I was very excited that we were going to get to play Call of Duty World at War Zombies.
You're joking, by the way, of course. We talk about zombies almost every week here on the show, and this game is a port, maybe a reimagining of Call of Duty World at War Zombies. They had their Zombies expansion in that game. It was very popular. We are holding down the fort, so to speak. The zombies are attacking us. It feels a little bit like a situation in Resident Evil 4 when Leon Kennedy is stuck in the barn and he's fending off all these zombies. Graphics were nice and crisp. These zombies coming at you. Once they get really close, though, they're kind of blocking. They look silly. You don't want that to happen, though, because then they start biting you in the face, and then it's game over.
This is just wave after wave of zombies.
What I found interesting about this is no matter which level you select, you're in a very flimsy building that has the same weakness. You have windows that are opened up, and you just use these 2x4s, and you just keep nailing them up. This is a very solitary experience. There's really no teammates. It's just you versus a whole bunch of zombies.
Unless you're playing online.
Exactly, and I couldn't get online with this one. I tried every time I entered a lobby to find a match, no matter which map I chose. Never any connections. I was just waiting forever, and I had to give up on it.
That happened to me as well, I have to say.
I think all these Call of Duty fans, they're anxiously awaiting Modern Warfare 3. That's the thing. They're probably already waiting in the Modern Warfare 3 lobbies.
This game used to be $10, and it is now $5, which is a massive drop in price. which is a great thing. I would never recommend this game to play if it was $10.
I did have fun. This one's getting a 7 out of 10 from me.
It's getting a 6.5 from me.
Vic and I have to take a quick break because we have to cook this grenade.
We're gonna go into the kitchen, cook that up.
Right after this, fresh grenades for everyone.
Coming soon to Reviews on the Run, Rayman heads back to his origins. Link returns for The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Step into the ring with WWE 12. And tomorrow on the show, we celebrate the anniversary of Halo. But coming up next, the start of World War III.
Sandman, Price, Soap, Tango, Cash, they're all back in Modern Warfare 3. There's no
Tango and there's no Cash.
There should be a Tango and
There
Cash.
is a Yuri, there is a Price. Price from the original Modern Warfare game. This is kind of his story and his relationship with Soap, at least I think it is. I'm not always sure.
It's pretty hard to follow what's happening
I don't know.
story-wise in this, but holy crap is it fun. I had a total blast playing through the campaign this time.
But didn't you feel a little bit like there's a certain amount of numbness that sets in?
Yeah,
it's awful loud and it's awful pretty, and I think that Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer, they've been through a lot of hard times lately, as was well documented in the news.
Sure.
They've gotten good at piling the tech on, and that's like adding more icing to the cake.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that it's definitely an expansion on the lofty heights that Modern Warfare has risen before, and they've tried to like amp up the action and the adrenaline set pieces and all that stuff. But I think that it was also more rooted in a little more realism. I was just like, holy crap, I can't believe what I'm living through. And in a way, it kind of brought me back to some of the big set pieces in Uncharted 3.
But are you really living? That's my question.
Sure.
Because you're looking at this world around you, and there's lots of buildings and there's lots of cars.
Yeah.
I never feel like any people have ever occupied those buildings or those cars or those vehicles. I don't
Not
feel
like in Battlefield 3,
No,
you're right.
I feel like there's a hollowness to this entire world that you just make your peace with at the start.
Yeah.
I just wish that they would ground it in a story that I could follow or understand. I have no idea who I am
But I think
or what
that's
I'm
part
doing.
of the attraction, is that you just lose yourself in this mesh. You are in military
in
land.
this mess, you mean?
Well, it's a mesh as well. It is a bit of a mess.
It's a narrative mess.
You just jump all over the world. You go to Paris, you go to London, you go to New York, and they're incredible moments.
But why not make these moments add up to something more?
You are the guy that's always railing at the developers when they try to imbue too much story and they try to sort of take us along. And certainly this has got a lot of scripted moments and there's a lot of follow me, follow there. But it is also a second-to-second complete high.
But didn't you feel like at certain junctures, like suddenly all of your cable channels on your TV are subscribed to the most violent war movies ever?
Of course.
And you're just flipping through them as fast as you humanly can?
This is like the
It's a bit
perfect
silly.
recruitment video.
Good work, team. That's one for the books.
Easy day, Overlord. Sandman out.
Some of the problems that I think you'll agree with me here that persist in the game, and they've persisted in previous versions of the Modern Warfare series, are the endlessly spawning enemies. Unless you get to a certain point in the level, a certain physical point, those enemies will just keep coming. There are also moments where there's absolutely no opportunity for you to divert from the script of the game at all.
Get off the street! Go right! Go right!
For the most part, I was just captivated and drawn along by the ride, and I felt like I had to kind of towel off at the end of this thing. It was so...
Because you felt dirty.
It was exasperating. It
Because
was
you felt numb and
exhilarating. I loved it. I had a great time
I'm
with the
glad you
single
had fun.
player.
Let's talk a little bit about the multiplayer here. You got 16 different maps to choose from.
Yep.
As usual, you got a lot of different gameplay modes, that half of which are unlocked at the start of the game. The other ones will become unlocked
It's
later
all
on.
about the grinding. It's all about the leveling up and unlocking all of the goodies. And it really takes a turn when you get a good gun. Because for the most part, you start this game and you are just fodder.
The learning curve is a little less steep than it was for Battlefield 3.
Well, this is familiar territory.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's also a little bit more arcadey. There's no wait between respawns. And no matter how good a guy is, he could be at level 50. You
Yeah.
could still catch him off guard when you're rounding a corner and shoot him in the face, and he's going to go down. In Battlefield, you don't really feel that way.
No, and we're going to do a versus between Battlefield
We
and
sure
Modern
are.
Warfare, but I love the arcadey sensibility of this game. I love its pick-up-and-play nature. It is a nice counter to the hyper-crazy, everything blowing up in front of you world that you're taking taking through in the single player. When you go into multiplayer, there is a lot of chaos and it's a lot of bullets flying all over the place, but it's really just about the gunfights. You know, and obviously you do get all the perks and you get helicopters and stuff like that flying
And
around.
there's also a whole series of strange rewards.
You sucked, so you get this.
I got a reward for being the one who spent the most amount of time watching kill cams.
Yeah.
Like, they try so hard to find some way to say something nice about the performance
I love
that you
that,
just
though.
had.
I mean, this is a
for sure.
finely tuned
But I was laughing
instrument.
at that.
I know.
And this is the thing, I'm not a huge multiplayer gamer at all, but man, I put in a couple hours of this last night. My heart was racing. Like, you get into this and you can see why people devote their whole lives to this. I just wish that it wasn't so grim and so hollow at the same time.
Right. I love when I jump into this game, but I hear what you're saying too. You want that resonance, and I think Crysis 2 for me, and even a little more Killzone 3, I think those were, you know,
more personal stories.
Well, and they're more interesting because of their story stuff. This feels ridiculously fun and probably better technically, but a little less soul, I think. And I think that's what you're saying.
This is an incredible juggernaut, but we
Yeah.
still, you know, as professional game reviewers, we got to hang scores on it. What are you going to get Modern Warfare 3?
I think for all the value, all the fun that you're going to have, it's still a 9. It's still a fantastic game.
Gets a 7 from me.
Okay.
Today on the show, Stephen Raju took point with Call of Duty 4. This game set the standard for most shooters back in the day with plenty of Michael Bay-esque moments and top-notch online play. Jose and Ben stormed Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer, some of the most solid, fluid, and fun multiplayer to date, and the strong community even after all these years is a testament to how it stands up. Sean and Marissa took on the World at War Zombies. It's a little difficult playing a first-person shooter on the iOS, but the drop in price makes it an easier purchase. Finally, Scott and I loaded out with Modern Warfare 3. I got completely immersed in the over-the-top fun, but Scott found it to be hollow and just a propaganda flash in the eyeballs. The Rogers must-buy of the day is Modern Warfare 3.
We saw some things out there that we can never unsee. War is truly hell. Video game war is truly hell.
It's actually really fun.
It's kind of fun. Listen, if you want more fun and more hell, you can go to our website, reviewsontherun.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. Reviews on the Run, all one word. This man is Victor_Lucas on Twitter.
Private Scott C. Jones, you can find him on Twitter.
Listen, we salute you.
At ease.
All right.